So this is the test printing demo, and the idea here is we have some block printing ink, and it's really thick, nothing really comes out, and we have a knife, and the idea is you just need a little teeny bit right here in the center of that. You should scrape off any extra and make sure that gets set aside so you don't get ink everywhere. These right here are actually called brayers. I know they look like rollers, but there is a difference. Rollers usually soak up ink and then you can paint a whole bunch with them, where this is actually made of rubber, and all you're trying to do with these is coat the actual rolling part of the brayer. So you just go this way, and then you just go this way, back and forth, trying to coat the actual brayer. The idea here, though, is we should not have ink everywhere all along this. We just need a little square in the center. What happens is you get ink all over here and it wastes. It dries up and we can't actually use it. It also gets everywhere. It gets on your hands, it gets on the handles of these, and then somehow it gets on my khakis and you end up ruining my khakis. Don't ruin my khakis. We have this to actually do very easily. We put the ink here, we put the ink here. If we push too hard, it just kind of slides, it doesn't roll, so you can't do too much. And what we're going to do is we're going to put ink where we want to print. This whole area over here and over here, we don't actually need any ink there, so we're not going to roll over it like crazy town. We are just going to put the ink where we need it. The idea here is this has been printed a few times, but there's always room for improvement. And you will see that there are some higher areas that need to be re-carved just based on the black marks that show up around the printing block. This, when you set these down, you got the ink in the ink and the handle not in the ink, so it doesn't get on everything and somehow ruin my khakis. These are test printing papers. They're very thin, and we don't need to use really expensive printmaking paper yet. We're just testing it out. There are some with actual prints on them. We can use the back because it doesn't really matter what the print turns out like. It's just finding out where the high area is. So when I set this down, I want to make sure I'm lined up. If I don't line it up and I accidentally let it down, that's a big problem, because then I have this and I try to line it back up again and again, and then we got crazy Mario, and that's ridiculous. But we'll still be able to use the back of this. I'll put this on the drying rack. I'll have to recoat this just to make sure that we got it down, but I'm going to go like this and roll over where I need to print. We'll take a look at that. Try not to go crazy. Like we said, we don't need to actually push very hard on this because it'll squeeze into all the extra spots that we've carved. Even though we've carved them well enough, it still squeezes ink into there. So I'm going to take a piece of test paper, I'm going to line it up, and once it's down, it is down. I can pat it so it stays, and then I can take a clean brayer and push to actually force the ink to transfer to the paper. Once we are done with that, we take this off and we peel this, and we have a lovely Mario print. I do have some high areas right along here and here that you can see. What I would do is I would actually recarve those. But before I recarve those, there's a very important step. You need to wash and dry this, so you don't have wet ink on a rubber printing block and a sharp carving tool in your hand. You could slip and die in art class. Don't break the #1 rule. Once you have recarved this, you will actually re-test print it. The idea is you want to make sure that you got all the areas so you can get a clean print. So good job, guys. Good luck.